A few people ever since Avalon Expo have been questioning me about my OC, my original cosplay that I did that weekend. And I'm going to give you the whole background on the character, on how he was created, everything. As you saw from the pictures before the video, his entire name is the Head General, or the General, the Red Eagle of East Germany, Wilhelm von Walter. And how I originally intended him to be was actually not to be a general at all. I originally intended him to be totally different. There was another character that I will do later on, once I start going to cons again. Originally, the character was supposed to be all red and black, as you can tell by the costume. I started putting things together, and the more things I put together, the character went from one way to another. He was originally supposed to be a character I called the Dice, and the Dice was based off of the new gods in American Gods. He was supposed to be the new god of gambling, and he's supposed to take bets from people. If you win the bet, your wish is granted. If you lose the bet, you're worse off than what you are right now. Anyway, the more I started putting him together, the more he started turning into a general. And so I started to put things together. I started to working on this character. And I fell in love with the character. And I fell in love with what I was creating. Everything from the monocle to the jacket, the medals, everything just started to come together. So the background on Wilhelm von Walter, first of all, the character is based in the Command and Conquer Red Alert series, or the Command and Conquer series altogether. The background of him is that he comes from the nobleman von Walter family. And the von Walter family has served the German royal family, the Hohenzollerns, for the better part of 3 or 4 generations. Anyway, Wilhelm was born in January 1899, and obviously he was born into the von Walter family, and it was supposed to take over from his father and his grandfather to serve the German royal family. Anyway, the First World War happened, and Wilhelm's family was ended up arrested by the German royal family. And the reason why is because they were friends. They didn't have any kind of association whatsoever with them, but they were friends with a certain up and coming communist / socialist in the German Communist Party named Rosa Luxemburg. And because they were friends with Rosa Luxemburg, and because there was a lot of socialist activity in Germany at the time, the von Walters were arrested and executed. Everyone except Wilhelm, who at the time was in 1915, he was 16 years old. And he was sent to live with Rosa Luxemburg. And during the whole time, he started to have a disdain for the German royal family and imperialism altogether. Rosa taught Wilhelm in the art of socialism, about the Communist Manifesto, and he started to understand that the normal people could take back what they wanted. Anyway, this is another thing too. I wanted I wanted von Walter to be put into real life scenarios, so that he would be put into, seemed like all the pieces would come together to make sense. Anyway, in 1916, at the height of the First World War, obviously Rosa Luxemburg and the rest of her party were arrested and executed. And once again, Wilhelm managed to escape. And he escaped because Rosa Luxemburg made contact with the Bolshevik exiles in Switzerland. And at the time, Lenin was trying to find a way to get back to Russia. He needed a way to get back to Russia. And the only way that he could do it was by a train through Germany. And the person who was able to organize the train and to make sure that they would get there safe was, of course, Wilhelm von Walter. He traveled with them on the train, and he tried to earn the Bolsheviks' trust. Anyway, because he was a German, a lot of the other Russians, including Trotsky, Lenin, and some of the other high-ranking Bolsheviks, Kamenev and Zinoviev, they didn't trust Wilhelm. They thought he was a German spy, so they needed to test him. They needed to put him in a position where he could earn the trust of the Bolsheviks. So when the time came, and when the royal family, the Tsarist royal family, was under arrest, they wondered, what can we do with them? Anyway, after when they decided that they were going to execute the Tsars, they needed somebody to volunteer for the job. And Wilhelm said, I'll do it. So Wilhelm von Walter was the man responsible for the execution of the Tsarist royal family. And during that time, this is where his monocle comes in. During the time, he felt a kind of connection with the Princess Anastasia. And he tried to save Anastasia. But Anastasia managed to escape from the shooting from where the Tsars were shot. And Wilhelm was trying to plead with Anastasia to come with him and be, stay he could save. Anastasia found a pistol, took a shot, and it blew out Wilhelm's eye. So once he got back to Russia, or once he got back to the Bolsheviks, he was proven and he was brought into the fold, considering not only that he faced a really bad wound by losing his eye. Trotsky was a confidant of Wilhelm, and he had connections. He had connections to make sure that Wilhelm could get a reusable eye that could be used in many ways. His monocle has a power. It can shoot a laser, it can see through walls, and it can see through X-ray. It kind of got X-ray vision. It can see whether somebody's panicking or not, whether they're lying. Anyway, after when all this happened, this is where Command and Conquer comes in. He became one of Stalin's hierarchy, one of his inner circle. And of course, if anybody, spoiler alert, that played Command and Conquer Red Alert 1 would understand that Kane infiltrated the Soviet hierarchy and helped destroy the Soviet Union. Where was von Walter during all this? He was there, but Stalin sent him to Germany during the invasion of Europe, and he became the governor or the commissar of all Germany. After when the Soviet Union fell, and it was discovered that everything that Wilhelm ever loved, everything that he ever trusted, anything he ever believed in was all betrayed by Kane, in which communism fell in Europe. And when it fell in Europe, Wilhelm managed to gather socialist and communist sympathizers, and they wanted to get revenge on the Brotherhood of Nod. And he also wanted to overthrow the Global Defense Initiative to bring communism back to the world. So von Walter gathered together his army that were known as the Crimson Organization, or the Crimson Reds. Wilhelm's attire, as you see, consisted of the trench coat, consisted of the red vest, the medals of service, the cap, and the monocle. His weaponry, obviously, besides his monocle, he has his trusty broomstick handle pistol. And he talks in a very distinct way, a very strict German accent. Especially, even though he is very young in appearance, he is very old, so he has to talk with such a thick, old German accent. So that's my background of the character of Wilhelm von Walter. So hopefully, when things are starting to turn back to normal, and I can finally, after so long, go to Sci-Fi on the Rock, maybe I could bring out the new character called the Dice. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you later, and I wish you plenty of smoke.